and welcome back to Retired Happy. This is your Retired Happy friend Carolyn from Mississippi. And if you're new to my channel, I just want to let you know that what we do, we talk about things that we enjoy doing that give us happiness and joy and fulfillment in our life. Whether it's walking in the woods, or whether it's making something, a craft, or whether it's cooking, or whether it's just sitting on the sofa with our pet. We do a lot of that. So today we're going to have breakfast for lunch. And I'm going to be making homemade biscuits from scratch with just the flour, the lard, and the buttermilk. And I'm going to have scrambled eggs. We're going to cook grits to go with it. And I'm going to show you how to make no lump gravy 2 different ways. I have 2 different methods of making my gravy, and it's guaranteed to have no lumps in it if you follow these directions. So we're having breakfast for lunch today. So I hope you enjoy that. Today it's cooler. It's great. I sat outside this morning for about an hour just reading and studying and watching nature, and Maisie and I both just enjoyed sitting outside. So I'm so thankful that the weather is finally cooling off. There's a hint of fall in the air. I can look across the way and see some yellow leaves, red, orange leaves that are beginning to fall, and the leaves are starting to turn. And when Maisie and I go walk, we go crunching through the we go crunching through the leaves, and that's always a fun thing to do in fall. And my good word for today is Wednesday, so we had our Bible study today, and we are still in 2 Samuel. And today we were on chapter 9 in 2 Samuel. So in chapter 9, David is talking to Jonathan's son, Mephibosheth. And Mephibosheth was lame in both legs. The little commentary on the side of my Bible on this passage, this is the life point. And I want to read this to you because it just is very, very meaningful. Back in David's day, if you were lame or you had a deformity or imperfection of some kind, you were looked down on a little bit. So this is the commentary, the life point. We can all learn a good lesson from Mephibosheth. God's goodness and mercy and his willing to help us are not based on our perfection, but on our covenant with his Son, Jesus. We are in Christ. When we are in Christ, we are included in that covenant and can go boldly to the throne and receive mercy and help in plenty of time to meet all of our needs. Even though Mephibosheth was lame in both feet, he ultimately received the mercy of David, offered and ate at the king's table. We do not have to talk to God into being good to us. He is good, and he is looking for someone to bless for Jesus' sake. Make a decision to start receiving what you do not deserve and have not earned. As you do, you will be living in God's awesome grace, which is freely available to all who will receive it. So that's the good word for today. None of us deserve it, but thank you, Lord. He gives it to us freely. So now I want to talk to you about upcoming things. Let's see, today is Wednesday, so tomorrow is Thursday. This is the last week in August. So tomorrow on Thursday, I'm going to be going through my pantry, my refrigerator, my freezer, take inventory of everything that I'm running low on and everything I need, because Friday is going to be my grocery shopping day. So it will be frugal shopping for one for the month of September. So Friday, I will go to the store after I get out all my coupons, check all of the store specials, check all of the e-coupons that Kroger has that I can clip. I'm going to make my list, and I have learned the last 2 months I have rewritten my list, and that makes a huge difference when I get in the store going up and down the aisles. So that will be on Monday. So on Thursday, so many of you have asked about for the pattern for the chicken mug rug. So on Thursday, I'll be making the little chicken mug rug. Aren't they cute? I think they're just adorable, and they make a cute table. So Thursday, I'll be making, what I'm doing today, let me digress just a little. What I'm doing today is rendering down some tallow. I have been reading and hearing so many people are using tallow for their skincare, and how it helps to moisturize our skin, and it's good with no chemicals and no preservatives for our skin, because after all, our skin is the largest organ on our body, so we want to take care of it. So today I'm rendering my tallow. Now this is the first time I've tried this, so we'll see how it goes together. I'll show you as I do. Right now my tallow is in my crock pot on low heat and rendering the fat out of the beef fat, rendering the tallow out of the beef fat. So I have ordered, where is it? I have ordered calendula flowers. I'm going to infuse the calendula into the tallow while it's still warm. And this has a lot of beneficial properties too for the skin, for the face. So, and for my fragrance, I have some essential oil, some lavender. So I already have all of my ingredients together. I was just really waiting for my calendula to come in, because I had to order it, and I did order this on Etsy from a company that sells calendula. So the tallow will be mixed with avocado oil, and then the lavender and the essential oil for the fragrance, and the calendula blooms. So that will be on Thursday. The little chicken and the tallow. And so that takes care of Monday will be the shopping trip. And if y'all remember, I made we have the little pumpkin mug rugs that went along before the chicken mug rugs. So lots of crafts that we can do in the fall. And those I'm saving, I'm putting those with, you remember the grippers that we made. So the grippers and the chicken mug rugs, and then several other things that we have made quick, easy, fun little crafts that we can put together, and they all look great and greatly appreciated. So I want to ask you if you are interested in another frugal retirement wardrobe like I did in the spring. In the spring I did a frugal wardrobe, getting dressed with me, and I had wardrobe items that I had gotten at Costco. And I have worn all of those things that I have kept out of that collection all summer long. That has been my basic summer wardrobe, or the things that I got, the things I showed you that I kept. So I want to know in the comments if you're interested in having another collection for the fall. I was at Costco yesterday, and the fall things are beginning to come in. So if we did that, that would be on the second week in September. The second week in September. If you're interested, let me know in the comments and I'll work on that. So also coming up with September coming up, sometime the end of or middle of September, I have a lot of pumpkin recipes that I can share with you, and we'll be getting ready for fall and kind of gradually shifting over into fall recipes and fall food. So that's something to look forward to in the fall. Football season is starting, so all of you football fans will be enjoying football games very soon. So this weekend is going to be Labor Day. I hope you have a wonderful, safe Labor Day. Be thankful and be happy and enjoy and celebrate and be thankful for all that we have. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy this breakfast for lunch. Today's Cooking with Me, we're going to have breakfast for lunch. So the menu is going to be grits. I'm going to make biscuits, fresh homemade biscuits, and then I'm going to make 2 different kinds of gravy, show you 2 different ways I've made gravy, and then you can decide which one you like. I'm going to have sausage, so I'll have sausage gravy over the biscuits and then scrambled eggs. So I'm going to go ahead and get the grits on to cook, and then they will be ready when I get my biscuits and gravy and egg ready. So I'm using the quick grits, and these are Dixie Lily quick grits. So I'm going to make a half serving, and I'll need 3/4 cup water, 3 tablespoons of grits, just a dash of salt, and I'm going to start my water to boil now with the salt, and I'll have to cook it for 5 minutes. So we'll go ahead and get the water on to boil. The water's boiling, so we're going to add 3 tablespoons of the dry grits. So there's 1, 2, 3, and we'll stir that up and let the grits start cooking. So I'm going to turn my heat down and put the cover on it and let those sit there and cook while I make the biscuits. Now for the biscuits, I'm going to use 1 cup of self-rising flour, and I'm going to make my biscuits in my little small iron skillet. And it's just for me, so I don't need a lot of biscuits. So I have my flour. I'm going to get about a spoonful. This time I'm using lard. I don't happen to have any shortening, so I'm going to use the lard and mix the flour and the lard up together. So I want this to be kind of crumbly and mixed up, so when I add the buttermilk to it, I can have a dough, put it on my counter, and roll it out to make biscuits. So my grits are cooking. I turned the heat down on the grits a little bit so they wouldn't stick to the bottom, because they start absorbing the water and they do stick to the bottom pretty quickly. Okay. And that's just Morel Snow-Capped lard. I don't buy lard very often. That is not a thing that I use real often, but sometimes I need it. So I have my oven heating to 400 degrees, getting ready to put my biscuits in. So I'm going to put some buttermilk in. We'll start stirring that up and see if that's enough or if I need more. I want a fairly stiff dough. So I need just a little bit more buttermilk. Buttermilk is also a staple in my kitchen. I have to use it in my cornbread, my biscuits, and I also like to drink it. It's really, really good with cornbread. Okay, now that is mixed up enough. I'm going to put the flour out on my counter and put my dough out on my flour. I want that to stay right there on my flour. And just give it, I'm not going to knead it like I would rolls. I'm just going to kind of turn it over and pat it out. And then what I'm going to do is just take my knife and cut my biscuits. I'm going to kind of shape it into a square. And I'm not going to get my rolling pin out, I'm just going to pat my dough. Now I just turned my grits off. They have been boiling for 5 minutes and they are done. So all the moisture is boiled out. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut my biscuits and put them in my iron skillet. And the other way you can do your biscuits is just to roll them out into balls. And that is the way most people do. But today I'm going to cut them. And I'm going to put them close together because I want my biscuits to rise and be high and fluffy. So I'm putting them into my iron skillet. I did go ahead and melt some lard in my iron skillet while I was mixing the biscuit dough up. So whether it's the prettiest biscuits or not is not the important thing. The important thing is how they taste, and these are going to be good biscuits. So they are popping in the oven at 400 degrees. Now the first way to make gravy I'm going to show you is how to start with your flour and the grease. And this is bacon grease that I have saved in a little jar after I cooked my bacon. When I get in from the grocery store with my bacon, I go ahead and put it on a cookie sheet and put it in the oven and cook it right then. Then I put it in the freezer and store it until I need it. So this is going to be basically like making a roux. In the South, we make a roux if we're going to have gumbo or some kind of gravy that we need to make a roux. We melt the grease and put the flour and the grease in the pan. And this gives the flavor of the meat. Now I have made it a lot of times with hamburger steak grease. I make it with chicken fat drippings, and after I fry chicken, I make a gravy this way with the chicken. I also use it on roast, beef pot roast, or if I'm cooking a roast in the oven, I'll make my gravy like this. So I have the grease heated and the flour. So I'm going to let it brown. And on making gumbo and other dishes where you want a roux, you can control the flavor of your roux by how brown you let the flour get. So if you go ahead and get a brown flour, you're going to have a stronger flavor. So we're going to let the grease and the flour sit here and kind of fry and cook. And after I get my gravy made, I have my sausage on the counter. I'm going to break up the sausage and put the sausage in the gravy. Serve that over the hot biscuits with the grits and the scrambled egg. Now the flour and the grease is bubbling, so it's cooking. We're going to let that brown a little bit. And this makes a really good gravy. And it will have good bacon flavor, which is good for breakfast with biscuits and eggs. Now you can control how much grease and flour your proportions are on how much grease you happen to have in your pan. I usually pour all of my grease off except enough to really for the flour, all of the flour to be incorporated into the grease in the pan. So I don't want the pan to just have flour in it that doesn't have grease. Okay, now you can see how it's starting to get brown. And we're going to get it just a little bit more brown so it will have more flavor. And I think that's about as brown as I want it. I'm going to turn my heat down so you can see how that has gotten brown. And that's about as brown as I want it. So I'm going to put some salt in it, pepper, And now I'm ready to add my water. Now you can add milk. I'm going to put water in my gravy. Excuse me. Excuse me. The pepper got in the air. Okay, now I'm going to bring that to a boil. And if it's too thick, I'm going to add some more water. If it's too thin, I will cook it down until it gets thick as I want it. But this is a good way to make a gravy that has no lumps in it, no lump gravy. And when you're making gumbo, this is the way you start with the roux, and this makes kind of a thickening in the gumbo. It's not really called gravy when it gets in the gumbo, but it's... Now this gravy is done. Now I'm going to make the second gravy, and then I'll decide which gravy I want to put my sausage in. So I don't want this to get too thick. So I'm going to put the grits back over on that burner. And this is the burner that the heat from my oven comes up on. So I'm going to set this gravy on the back, and it will stay warm back there. Now on this pan, we will start and we will make gravy a different way. So I also do this a lot if I have chicken or beef or hamburger steak. So on this one, I want my grease and my chicken drippings, or even pork chops. You can make pork chop gravy. So I really want the batter and the drippings from the pork chop and the chicken to be down in the gravy, and that's where I want my brown to come from. Now on this style gravy, I'm going to go ahead and mix my flour and my water together before I put it in the grease. I decided to go ahead and add my sausage patty to this grease so that it can start browning and get some flavor down in the grease. Since I'm not cooking pork chops or chicken or a roast right now, I don't have the meat drippings down in my pan. So this one has the sauce, and this is just regular sausage, breakfast sausage. It comes in a tube, and I take it out and I make the patties myself. And then I also cook these in the oven after I come from the grocery store. And this package of sausage had almost zero fat in it to come off. Now the bacon, of course, has a lot of grease to come off when I'm cooking bacon, but my sausage had very little grease in it. I'm going to turn my heat up just a little bit and keep frying my sausage. And this is going to make really good sausage gravy to go on those biscuits. And I'll also, of course, have to save a biscuit to have a buttered biscuit and either honey or jelly or jam for my dessert today. So, so my dessert is already decided for today. Okay, the sausage is done. Now the key to having this no lump is to be sure to stir up all the flour and the water before you put it in the pan, and be sure you have all the lumps out. Because of course if you have lumps when you put it in your pan, you're going to have a lumpy gravy. And that was a little bit thick. I had to get a little bit more water to add to it. And I think I need a little bit more water. But this is two different methods of making no lump gravy. You don't have to buy the gravy mixes and the packets in the grocery store, and you don't have to buy gravy already made. It is so easy and so economical. Just use the ingredients you have in your kitchen and make your own gravy. And you know, this way it has no preservatives in it, no anti-caking ingredients, and it's good for you. Now I'm going to add some salt and some pepper. And this gravy is almost ready. Now I'm going to pour one of the gravies, probably this gravy, into a bowl and use that pan to scramble my egg. Now some people like fried eggs, some like poached eggs. I've always liked scrambled eggs. So that's what I'm going to do for my breakfast for lunch. And I have a good bit of gravy here. So, and I never know exactly, well, I never really measure my flour and my water. I always just mix. And it has to be cold water. Cold water with your flour, and then you put that in your grease and you stir it around until you get it as thick as you want it and the right consistency. So that's the way home cooking is. And this is going to end up being a white gravy because I didn't have any pan drippings and batter in my gravy, in my pan. So I'm going to turn that off, and my biscuits are rising, but they're not browning yet. So I'm going to set the gravy back on the back burner and let everything wait until my biscuits get done, because I want my egg to be hot. So doesn't that look good? That's a good smooth gravy with no lumps in it. And you can make lumpless gravy every time using one of these two methods. So the biscuits are all brown on top, and I'm going to take them out, turn them out, and go ahead and cook my egg. So aren't those beautiful biscuits? This is going to be a wonderful breakfast for lunch day. So I'm going to put a little bit of butter in my skillet to cook my egg. And this is real butter, not margarine. We don't use margarine or anything that's artificial. We like the real butter, the real lard, the real milk, the real yogurt. Okay, so we are just about ready to eat. There goes my little egg. I'm going to go ahead and turn my heat off, because my little egg just doesn't take any time at all to cook. And I like my little scrambled eggs soft. So now let's serve up the plate. We have the grits. So the grits are still steaming and hot. So we're going to put a good scoop of grits on the plate. And I like to put butter on my grits. Hot melted butter on the grits is just so good. So we have the egg, have the butter on the grits, and let's get a biscuit. Turn you around this way so you can see my plate coming together. So now I'm going to take a nice sized biscuit, and the way I like to do my biscuit is to cut it in half. So let me get my fork, and I'm going to cut my biscuit in half. And I like to put my gravy on top of my biscuit. So let's go in with some of the gravy that has the sausage in it. So I'm going to put this gravy on the bottom part of the biscuit. Get a big piece of sausage there to go with it. And this is the gravy, the first gravy that I made. So let's go in and get some of that gravy and put some of that on the other half of my biscuit. So there we go. There is breakfast for lunch, and it's going to be so good. While I'm over at the stove, I'm going to go ahead and butter one of the biscuits for my dessert so that I'll have it already ready and the butter will melt while it's hot. So this is my lunch today. I have my scrambled egg, the grits. This is the biscuit with the sausage in the gravy, and this is the other one. This was the first gravy where we did the roux and we browned the bacon fat and the flour together. This was the gravy that I did with heating the bacon fat, and then I mixed my flour and water together and poured that in and put the sausage in it. So that's my lunch. For my beverage, what I'm having to drink, I had to go make a run and get some POM juice because I was out of POM juice. So I have POM juice to drink with it. And this is a wonderful lunch. I hope you enjoy this, and let me know when you try breakfast for lunch. I just took a bite of one of the biscuits. My hair is falling down, sorry about that. I just tried a bite of one of the biscuits, and oh, they're so good. They're hot, they're crispy, just like a biscuit should be. So let me know also when you try the gravies, and let me know which gravy method you like better and which one works for you. So I'm going to sit down and enjoy my wonderful breakfast while it's hot. Daisy's back in from a walk, and it's a little bit cooler while we were walking, but now the breeze has stopped and it's gotten kind of muggy, so we're going to stay outside and enjoy it. Hi, Maisie. Yeah. And the trees are beginning to change color, so I'm so happy to see the yellow coming in the trees. Kind of all around, the colors slowly leaving the trees, and they're turning to yellow and orange and red. And this is my crepe myrtle tree. It usually is pretty early in shedding its leaves. It turns and gives me some fall foliage color pretty quickly. That is the trumpet vine that has grown across that tree trunk. And every time we have a windstorm, that tree trunk gets lower and lower, where it's not a tree trunk anymore.